Hey guys, know yourself here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about entitlement. Just reading some comments today under some of my posts, and just really disturbing me about how many men, how many young men feel like they're entitled to things from the opposite sex when it comes to relationships. So, just wanted to give my opinion and my perspective on that today. Um, Here's the truth. In case you haven't figured it out yet, but you are entitled to nothing in this world. Everything you have and everything that comes to you has to come to you because you work for it. And it will only come to you if you work for it, if you put the blood, sweat, and tears, hard work, the long hours, sleepless nights into getting what it is you want. Now, this is a common idea. And if you say this to people, they'll, the retort is, of course, well, I know that I have to work. I can't just expect things to come to me. But for some reason, when it comes to relationships, uh, people feel as if they're entitled to the energy and the time. They feel like they're entitled to the affection, and they feel like they're entitled to the other person's, uh, their presence, really. And, you have to understand that, you're not entitled to anything. You have to work for whatever it is you have. You have to be the person that commands that type of respect. If you want someone to respect you, you have to respect yourself. If you want someone to give you their time, you have to put the time in for yourself. And if that person that you are dealing with is not reciprocating in the ways in which you would like them to, then you have to respect yourself enough to leave. But what you can't do is just expect them to give you something just because you happen to show up. Now, I know that the flip side of that is that a lot of men like to say, well, there's this idea out there that women just expect things just because they show up. And while that may be true, and there's a lot of evidence to prove that theory, men also expect things too. We expect women's time. We expect just because we pay for things that women are supposed to do certain things. We expect that because we show up sometimes that we are owed certain things. And the truth is, nobody owes anybody anything. You get what you work for. And so when you're thinking about entitlement, you're also thinking about arrogance and ego. And your ego is what's making you think that because you put out this energy, or because you paid this money, or because you showed up as this type of person, that this person is supposed to give you something. Some of the things that some of these guys expect for women to give them is, they expect women to give them sex. They expect women to give them their time. They expect women to give them their energy. They expect for women to stick around through their bullshit. And so you have to understand that she doesn't have to stay around just because you paid for a date, or just because you bought her a drink, or just because you took her out, or just because you did anything doesn't mean that she owes you anything. Now, on the flip side, there is that definitely that thing where we all understand, and then a lot of men have expressed this sentiment that yes, women, they expect things too. They expect it just because they showed up and they were pretty, that a man is supposed to take them out, that a man is supposed to show them a good time, that a man is supposed to spend his money on her, that a man is supposed to do all these things for her just because she showed up and presented herself in a certain way. And I think that dating has gotten way out of control in that way. Is that we've lost the sense of humbleness, the sense of gratitude, the sense of living in the moment, the sense of looking at every opportunity and every encounter as a gift. We've lost that. We seem to have lost the idea that, someone's presence and their time is so precious. And it's so precious because this time is the one resource that we just don't have enough of. And so we could all use more time. And so when someone spends their time with you, you're not entitled to it. It's a gift. They are literally doing you a favor by spending their time with you. And so you shouldn't expect that, but it has to be reciprocated from both sides. Both both parties have to understand that, yes, you don't owe me anything, and I'm happy to be here. And if both people came into a situation feeling that way, then we would see a lot less of this. But my comment section is full of men speaking with this entitled sense, like they gave this and that, they did this and that, and she didn't do this and that. And it's like, well, she didn't owe you anything. Just because you quote unquote gave doesn't mean that she owes you anything. You know, the worst feeling you can have when you're around somebody is that you feel like you owe them something. You know, I mean, imagine having that feeling, and some of us can understand this, or can this resonate with you. Imagine having that feeling with a parent. You know, like a parent who talks to you in ways as if because they gave birth to you, now you created some debt with them because you were simply born, right? They gave birth to you, and now you owe them for your life. And you have to spend the rest of your life paying that debt off. That would be the worst kind of relationship that you could ever be in with someone, is to be with someone that you feel like you owe them just because you're around them. That would drive me crazy. It would drive anybody crazy. It would make you want to not be around that person anymore. It would make you find ways to get away from that person as quickly as possible. And so you don't want to carry that sense of entitledness with you as you move throughout your life. You have to disabuse yourself of the notion that somebody owes you something. Anybody owes you something. Whether it is a friend, whether it is a colleague at work, whether it is your parents, whether it's your children, and 100% for sure if it's the person that you want to be in a relationship with. The very last thing you want to do is to make that person feel like they owe you something, because that builds resentment. And resentment eventually builds anger, and people lash out. Some people don't know how to control their anger, but ultimately what it does is it fuels the end of a relationship. And so, you know, entitlement is just one of those things that hey, let's just be honest. We live in a society now, and with social media and with just the way our future generations and even the current generations are being raised and taught, and people just feel like they are owed things. You know, there's a rise in like people, you know, working at jobs, and they just got there, right? So they're very new at the job, the intern level, right? And they're going to their boss and asking for raises and saying that they deserve raises, they deserve pay raises, simply because they're there. You know, we have a lot of stories like that coming out of people that are just like doing these things, and you're just like, what made you think that you could ask for something just because you showed up? And when you see that in the work world, well, of course, that person or those types of people would move that sort of thinking over into the world of dating. And so we just have to be mindful of that. What are some of the ways, I guess, if I could give just a little bit of advice, or just some things to think about, like what are some of the ways that you could move away from an entitled sense? You know, here's the thing. You have to practice gratitude. You have to live in the moment. You have to look at everything in your life as a gift. You have to make sure that when you are moving throughout your day, whether you are around someone you've been around 100,000 times, or you're around someone who you just met for the first time, you have to take every encounter and every interaction with someone as if it could be the last. Life is so short, and it's so fleeting, and things happen in a heartbeat. You know, here today, gone tomorrow is a real expression. And so when you feel like someone owes you something simply because they're around you or you're around them, you're not living in the moment. You're not showing gratitude to the moment. You're actually disrespecting the moment that you're in. So when you do get an opportunity to spend time around someone, then you have to treat that as if it is what it is. It's a moment that is not gonna be here forever. That person could be in front of you today and not in front of you tomorrow. They could be on this earth today and not on this earth tomorrow. So when you're interacting with people, when you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to show gratitude. When you interact with people, you should have a sense of gratitude. You should have a sense of gratefulness that you get these opportunities to spend with people. And have an attitude of gratitude, right? So you have to show gratitude to your life. And we just need to be, honestly, we just all need to be a little bit more humble, in the ways in which we treat ourselves, in the ways in which we treat others, and stop this idea that someone owes you something. You're entitled to something, because you're entitled to nothing. Every day is a gift. Every opportunity that you spend around someone, whether it is a friend or a family member or a potential dating partner, it's all a gift. And when you start looking at things from that perspective, you can start to lessen the idea in your mind, let your ego go, and you can start to look at it and say, okay, I'm grateful for this. I am happy that I get the opportunity to spend time with this person. And so I just wanted to talk about that. I just wanted to put a bug in your ear, reminder number 1057, have an attitude of gratitude and be grateful for everything that happens in your life, because it's all fleeting. It's all gone in a heartbeat. It's such a small amount of time that we get to spend here on this earth. And so with that, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know how you show gratitude daily in your life. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.